Well, as we go along through the Psalms, we are now at Psalm number 78. Psalm 78 is a song by Asaph, not David, but a song by Asaph. And in this psalm, the psalmist is telling the history of the Israelite nation from the time of slavery to the time of King David. He's recording this history, telling it to the next generation so that God's miracles will be known, and the way that God has worked through his people and the way that God has protected, provided for his people would be known from one generation to the next. As we look into the psalm, we look at only the first 8 verses today, but it might be worth your while to look at the entire psalm. It's a little bit longer than most of them, but it does indeed review the entire history of the Jewish people from Exodus through to the time of King David's reign. Psalm 78. Give ear, O my people, to my teaching. Incline your ears to the words of my mouth. I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings from of old, things that we have heard and known, that our fathers have told us. We will not hide them from their children, but tell to the next generation the glorious deeds of the Lord and his might, and the wonders that he has done. He established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers to teach their children, that the next generation might know them, the children yet unborn, and arise and tell them to their children, so that they should set their hope in God and not forget the works of God, but keep his commandments, and that they should not be like their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation whose heart was not steadfast, whose spirit was not faithful to God. Well, the meditation this morning is called Pattern for Parents, and it is a meditation by Paul Van Gorder, and it goes this way. A young man was having a chat with his little son. He was trying to tell him what a Christian should be like and how he should act. When he had finished talking to his son looked up and asked him, "Daddy, have I ever seen a Christian?" Ooh, what a telling commentary on the life of the father. How would we feel if our children were to respond to us in the same way? Psalm 78 gives us some help in making sure that doesn't happen. It sets forth a pattern for parenting, a method we can use to ensure that our children know the things of God and realize that we are people of God. According to Asaph, we can do this as we tell the next generation the praiseworthy deeds of the Lord. When we teach our children these things, they will see by our words and our testimony that we are Christians. Speaking of God's guidelines for living, Moses said, "Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up." This is from Deuteronomy 6:7. By word and by personal example, we must guide our children. In that way, we can both tell them and show them what it means to be a Christian. Paul concludes his meditation with, "Children may close their ears to advice, but they keep their eyes open to example." As I read this, I can't help but thinking that it's not just children. We all are that way. As I mentioned recently, that someone once said, I'd rather see a sermon than hear it. Well, live your life as a sermon. Live our lives from day to day doing the things that we know that Christians should do. So, knowing them and doing them. Two different things. Do them. See you next time.